These are the pictures of the great Buddhist center in Odisha, Lalitgiri, Ratnagiri and Udayagiri. Lalitgiri is probably the greatest Buddhist settlement in the world. It has a large temple, monastery and stupa with relics of the Buddha. There are some relics of Buddha enshrined there. Odisha, as a great center of Mahayana Buddhism, is believed to have been the cradle of Vajrayana Buddhism or Kalachakrayana school of Buddhism. For Vajrayana Buddhists, Padmasambhava is a second Buddha, the foremost of all the great saints of Mahasiddhas. He is believed to have been born in Odisha and he studied at the Ratnagiri Mahavihar. Later he studied in Nalanda for a considerable period and he is believed to have been the founder of Tibetan Buddhism. But we find Padmasambhava founded many academic institutions and he was instrumental in propagating Tibetan Buddhism in Tibet. Padmasambhava founded many academic centers to teach theory and practice of Vajrayana and the school of Nyingmapa or Ancient Ones, a branch of the survivors or Sravastivada order, branch of the Sravastivada order of Buddhism in Tibet. Padmasambhava, his name Pema Lungne in Tibetan, has been acknowledged as a second Buddha after Shakyamuni. Padmasambhava is iconographically pictured on the train in different forms of Buddhism. He is described as the second Buddha after Shakyamuni. Padmasambhava is iconographically pictured in the form of Vajradhara or Vajrasattva in the Udian area described as Odisha. Now, we find the representation of Padmasambhava in Odishan architecture also, and that is why we find, because he is Padmasambhava, that is why we find maybe many Buddhist figures, were from that name, because his name was Padma. Padma is the lotus, Padmasambhava. So many people, they used to eat from the Padma leaves. Now, we find representation of Padmasambhava, who is decided, who is thought to be a second Buddha in Tibetan Buddhism. Archaeological evidences confirm that Buddhism was introduced in China sometime during the Han Dynasty. However, it did not flourish until the 6th Dynasty's period, that is 220 to 589 AD. The first known Mahayana scriptural texts were translated into Chinese by the Kushana monk Lokhema in Laoyan between 178 to 189 AD. Early translators faced the difficulty of communicating to foreign Buddhist concepts to Chinese, and they often used Tao terminology to explain them. However, the later translators such as Kumarabijo from 334 to 413 AD improved the translation methods of Chinese Buddhism considerably. In the 5th century, Chinese Buddhists also developed a new school and new tradition, such as Tiantai school, the Ved school, the Pure Land school, and Chan Buddhism. These are the new concepts, new schools and traditions started in Buddhist followers or Buddhism in 5th century AD. Buddhism continued to grow during the early Tang dynasty, which was from 618 to 907. It was during this dynasty that the Chinese monk Huan Sang, about whom we have referred to earlier, Huan Sang traveled to India, bringing back with him 657 Buddhist texts along with the relics and statues. He established a famed translation school in Tang, capital of Chang'an, which is today's Xi'an. It focused on Yogacara school text. It was during this period we find there has been an introduction of esoteric Buddhism in India. Sorry, introduced in China from India. The Shang dynasty also saw the growth of Chen Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and with the great Zen Buddhism, Zen masters, in the latter part, Shang's Chinese Buddhism suffered a setback during the great anti-Buddhist persecution of 845. During the San dynasty, 960 to 1279, which is known as the Golden Age of Chans, during this period, Chinese Chan influenced Korean and Japanese Buddhism, Pure Land Buddhism, and became a popular religion during this period and was then often predicted together with Chan. It was also during that period, Shang dynasty, that the entire Chinese canon was printed using over 130,000 wooden printing books. So in my subsequent lecture, I will be telling you about the spread of Buddhism in Vietnam and in Thailand.